Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, cut through the noise and get to what really matters. And today, we're diving into something, well, fundamental. It's this idea that's often overlooked, especially now, with all the data flying around. It's about the impact of simply being known. Not like known as something, a label, a statistic, but known as a whole person,
Oh,
with a history, a heart, a future. We're always optimizing, right? For efficiency, for categories. But what if that actually gets in the way of what helps people the most? Makes you wonder.
it's a really important point. These complex systems we build, education, healthcare, business, they have all these sophisticated frameworks, metrics, and sometimes, yeah, we forget the basic human stuff underneath it all. Chasing efficiency can kind of diminish the power of just
Yeah.
connecting person to person. So yeah, today we're cutting through that, trying to uncover a truth that's actually pretty powerful and honestly quite moving.
Absolutely. And our source material for this deep dive, it's fantastic. It's an essay called The Teacher Who Followed: The Power of Being Known by Amy Oswald. This isn't some dry academic study. It's her story firsthand. A teacher who, well, she kind of broke the rules, followed one student, and it changed everything. So, our mission today. Let's pull out the key insights from her journey, see how being truly known can unlock potential we didn't even know was there. Okay, so let's set the scene. It starts back in fall 2001. Amy Oswald, she's just finished her master's in special education, right? First year teaching. And she's at Wineland Park Elementary in Columbus, Ohio. She describes the neighborhood as held hostage by gang violence. Pretty intense.
Yeah, that paints a picture.
Her classroom, a cross-categorical resource room, so kids with different mild to moderate disabilities altogether, always full. 16 students on her caseload, each with completely unique needs, all needing her attention.
And that's a lot for a new teacher, especially in a tough environment. You hear that story often, the feeling of being overwhelmed, like you
Right.
just can't make enough of a difference. It's a fast track to burnout.
Sure. Which makes Amy's next move, well, pretty unusual.
Totally. She talks about feeling constantly swamped, like she just couldn't possibly give enough to everyone. You give these little examples like one student getting teased because her hair was a train wreck. So Amy would have her come in early, wash and style it herself.
Wow.
Or how she said hunger was the 17th student in her room that year. Just, yeah, intense. And she knew instinctively, right? If she spread herself too thin across all 16 or 17 kids, it wouldn't work. Nobody would get enough. She'd burn out, they'd burn out.
Mhm.
So right there, in the middle of all that chaos, she makes this secret strategic choice. She decides she's going to pick one kid, just one. One student gets the extra. Whether that was fair or not, she decided, look, I'm pouring myself into this one person.
And the student she picks, Spencer Morgan, fourth grader, oldest of 7 kids. Her thinking was simple, really. If she could pour into Spencer, stabilize his world, maybe, just maybe, that stability could ripple down to his 6 younger siblings. That feels, I don't know, bold. Definitely not standard procedure.
It really does. The system is usually built around distributing resources equitably, right? So focusing intensely on one child. It feels counterintuitive, but it touches on something profound, doesn't it? Right. Sometimes that deep, concentrated investment can have a wider impact. That ripple down idea. It challenges how we normally think about fairness in, say, education. It suggests that really anchoring one key person in a family, or maybe even a small community, can lift others indirectly. Research sometimes bears that out. A stable anchor figure improves outcomes for others. It can be surprisingly efficient, in a way.
So what did this extra actually look like for Spencer? This is where it gets really interesting. Amy was his special ed teacher for 4 years straight, 4th grade, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
4 years, wow.
Yeah. And get this, when Spencer finished 5th grade, Amy moved schools. She followed him to middle school just to make sure he had that consistent anchor, as she put it. I mean, that's incredible dedication.
It really is extraordinary. That level of consistency, that genuine commitment,
Right.
it's miles beyond typical educational structures.
Yeah.
It just highlights how crucial those long-term relationships are for kids, especially kids facing instability.
Yeah.
Having that anchor, that sense of safety and belonging she provided, that's often more foundational for learning than any specific program. Makes you wonder why the system makes that so hard to do more often.
And it wasn't just school stuff. Remember that first summer after her first year? She spent it with Spencer and 2 other 4th graders, Ricky and Destiny. She knew these kids moved around so much they hardly ever made lasting friends. So she took them on what she calls adventures, and she says those were the real curriculum.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Adventure.
Oh, yeah. Like, they went to a friend's clinical lab at Children's Hospital, saw, and I quote, tumors with hair growing out of them in the autopsy room. Amy just calls it gross.
Chuckles slightly. Okay, memorable for sure.
Right. Imagine being a fourth grader seeing that. And they watched Tibetan monks making this incredibly detailed sand mandala. Just watch them create it and then destroy it ceremonially in the river. Spencer apparently had this look of utter fascination.
Hmm. Those are experiences, aren't they? Not your standard summer school.
Yeah.
But that's how kids learn sometimes, right? Expanding their world, seeing things they'd never normally see. Those aren't lessons in the textbook sense, but they're rich, sensory, emotional. They build understanding in a way reading about it just can't. It's about sparking curiosity.
Definitely. She even took them to her family's farm. Her grandfather was still alive then. They fished, picked black walnuts, stained their hands. She notes that explain using plants for dye way faster than any textbook could have.
Practical learning, yeah.
And Spencer. He thought farm life was just like churning butter and chores. He was amazed. He told her, "I love it here." His eyes were just wide with the peace of the open space. You can almost picture him finding that calm. And for a little while, they lived close enough to walk between houses. Amy showed him how to plant vegetables. And she remembers him running over one day, just beaming with pride, holding the first cucumber he'd ever grown. It was in these moments, right, these shared things. That's how she got to know the real Spencer, not the file.
And that phrase, not the file, that's key, isn't it? Labels, like the emotionally disturbed or ED label Spencer had, they're often just shorthand for behavior. They don't capture the whole person. But when you invest in the relationship, you get past the label. You see the complexity, the strengths, the actual challenges, the potential. It's the difference between reading a diagnosis and really seeing someone. The relationship itself becomes almost a better diagnostic tool.
Exactly. And through that relationship, she figured out his ED label. It was masking severe dyslexia. And then, another discovery, this kid came alive through movement. He loved to dance. So Amy would stay late, let him and his sister practice in her classroom.
Wow.
Turns out he was fabulously talented. Gifted, actually. Identified as gifted in dance. So Amy pulls out all the special tricks she knows, gets him into Fort Hayes, the public performing arts high school there. He got in, and that's where he started to find his footing, beyond those old labels.
That just shows you, doesn't it, how a relationship can uncover those hidden talents, those underlying needs. When you know someone, really know them, you see past the surface stuff. You spot the root cause, like the dyslexia, but also the untapped gift, like the dance. And that deeper understanding lets you offer the right kind of support, the right opportunities. It lets the potential bloom instead of just focusing on the problem.
So fast forward. Where's Spencer now? He's in his early 30s, lives in Atlanta, and he's deeply involved in the ball culture.
Cool.
For anyone listening who doesn't know, ball culture is this amazing, historic LGBTQ plus subculture, especially strong in African American and Latino communities, known for performance, voguing, a space for community, identity, expression.
Right, a vibrant scene.
And Spencer, he's a truly gifted dancer, and he's living his best, authentic life. And here's the kicker. They're still in touch. After all these years, Amy says Spencer knows, her words, if the shit ever hits the fan wherever he is, his first call should be to me.
Yeah.
I mean, what trust, what a bond. Beyond just feeling good, what does that long-term connection tell us? How did being known actually lead to that authentic life?
It's such a powerful illustration, isn't it, of the long-term impact of that consistent care, of being truly seen. It's not just about grades in school. It's about building resilience, self-worth, the courage to actually be yourself, and that bond lasting decades. It shows the value isn't just in childhood. It's a lifelong safety net. It tells us that investing in that emotional safety, that deep connection, it pays off in ways far beyond test scores. It fosters self-efficacy, a growth mindset, tools you need to navigate life.
There's this one incident Amy shares from Spencer's 7th grade year. It feels pivotal. It really crystallizes everything. She had to put Spencer in a therapeutic hold, that physical restraint technique, a last resort when a kid is totally losing it. And while she's doing this, the school principal is there and he's escalating, getting worked up.
High pressure situation.
Totally. And it could have gone sideways for Spencer, badly. Expulsion, more labels, who knows? But Amy says the reason she managed to de-escalate it all wasn't just strangler training. It was, and this is key, because I knew Spencer. I knew his triggers, his fears, and his heart. She knew this was an incident, a temporary loss of control, not who he fundamentally was, not a life choice.
And that really gets to the core insight from the source, doesn't it? A label sees a behavior. A relationship sees a person. That deep understanding lets you respond with well, with wisdom and empathy, not just react to what's on the surface or what's in the file. And that applies everywhere, not just schools. Anytime we might jump to judgment, it really pushes back against relying only on those neat classifications. True understanding comes from the relationship.
Yeah. And Amy ends that part reflecting on Spencer now, thriving, living his truth. Her heart beats faster thinking about it. Thump, 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 she writes. It's the sound of a promise kept, a potential realized, and a life that proves the most powerful intervention of all is to be truly, deeply known. Just, wow. Such a profound takeaway. And it offers lessons way beyond teaching, right? Like, first, maybe focusing intensely can be more powerful than spreading support thin, counterintuitive. Second, relationships are better diagnostic tools than data sometimes seeing the dyslexia, not just the ED label. And third, that long-term emotional safety pays dividends way beyond short-term metrics. What an incredible story. This deep dive into Amy Oswald's experience, it really hammers home the power of being known, going beyond the surface, beyond labels. It shows what potential gets unlocked when someone feels truly seen, understood.
Yeah. And if we zoom out, connected to the bigger picture, Spencer's story makes you ask questions, doesn't it? About our own lives. How often do we just rely on quick judgments or those external labels? How can we maybe foster environments at work, in our communities, even our families, where people genuinely feel known?
That really is a challenge, isn't it? In a world that loves efficiency, categories, what are we missing? What happens if we don't take the time to really know the people around us? What transformations are we leaving on the table? So maybe something for you to think about. Who in your own life could you seek to know just a little bit deeper? You might be surprised what you find.